York City!
Welcome to MsMojo. And today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 SNL cast members who are great at stand-up. For this list, we'll be looking at the best SNL cast members, past and present, that are also impressive stand-up comedians. Did we forget another worthy stand-up from SNL? Let us know in the comments. Number 10, Pete Davidson. Starting stand-up as a teenager, Pete Davidson put the work in early to become a notable talent. His natural skills got him a job as one of the younger cast members on SNL.
That's because you're not getting enough airtime?
Oh, no. I was born depressed, but it might make me feel better if I was on TV more.
While he might not have been the most versatile sketch performer, Davidson excelled on Weekend Update, with extended routines about his personal life and pop culture.
Being mentally ill is not an excuse to act like a jackass, okay? I'm quoting my therapist, my mom, and my mailman.
These segments feel like they're perfectly synthesized from his own act. Returning to the stage after Saturday Night Live, the comedian remains an open book during his sets.
I've had a really weird year. I had an AIDS scare this year.
One of the reasons people love him is his vulnerability, honesty, and wit. He might be a social media fixation for his relationships, but the comic clearly resonates with audiences for his time behind the microphone.
Yeah, everybody just gets mad at me because my life's dope. It's so confusing. I don't even do anything bad. They're just like, what a
Number 9, Jenny Slate. This comedian might not have had a huge impact on SNL, but she was destined for greatness elsewhere.
We got horns for everybody. Come on.
What about me? I'm a scientist.
Here you go. Bunsen burner. Bubbles. It's alive. What?
Jenny Slate started in the New York comedy scene doing stand-up and improv. Together with Gabe Leidman, she crafted a comedic duo that prepared her for live television.
What if I was like, in my imagination?
That's your catchphrase? In my
Yeah.
imagination? That's fun.
Yeah.
I don't love it.
No? Okay.
After only one season on Saturday Night Live, Slate left the show to pursue other TV work and the idea for Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Her stand-up career blossomed even further with the release of Stage Fright.
Isn't it interesting that there are so many skeletons in here tonight inside?
Along with acclaimed films like Obvious Child, the comedian has been able to excel with an eclectic style all her own.
I have made love to the moon. And I've opened a portal to Julep.
Number 8, Tracy Morgan. Beloved for his unfiltered personality, Tracy Morgan has made a name for himself across several mediums.
Because usually I'm pitching my ideas to some white dude like Kelsey Grammer or Dylan McDermott.
Yeah.
Or that crazy dude with the white hair.
Lauren Michaels? That's your boss, Tracy.
Boss.
His work as a stand-up led him to SNL in the 1990s. With a few recurring characters, Morgan proved himself as a dynamic presence on the show.
This is Zevon, and he's a 2-year-old miniature potbelly pig.
Now, I don't care what he is. He better not talk dirty like that cactus rat.
His exit gave him an opportunity to pursue stand-up more, as well as a popular role on 30 Rock.
I'm like Mozart. You're like that guy that was always jealous of Mozart.
Salieri?
No, thank you. Already ate.
He always manages to have an unshakable demeanor that's completely authentic. Even after a terrible car accident threatened his health, the comedian fought back his way to the stage. His material is able to span hardships and career fortune while still maintaining a grounded approach to his life.
I'm like, Grandma, I made it. I survived. She said, good, now you go back and get your GED.
Number 7, Kevin Nealon. With a towering stature, Kevin Nealon became a memorable figure in late 1980s and 1990s SNL.
Now, let's get our priorities in the right place. Hot sex. So,
He turned his deadpan humor from stand-up into a welcome asset for the Weekend Update desk.
Exxon will have to pay Alaska over $1 billion to settle the latest lawsuit since the Valdez oil spill. The company has come up with a new defense with every lawsuit issued. this time explaining that they were only trying to grease up the coastline so boats could get in and out of the harbor more easily.
Outside of the show, his witty sensibility keeps audiences entertained through various supporting parts and cameos in hit comedies. Nealon's strongest asset is his joke writing, often too smart for audiences to get on first listen.
This country would not be in this position if Wesley Snipes had paid his taxes.
He also uses this dry persona on hilarious appearances for programs like Conan. Developing his own hiking series, the comedian now connects to a larger audience through his off-the-cuff humor online. Through it all, the performer can turn a subtle bit into something truly funny.
We're not supposed to say this, but Joe Pesci lives in the room upstairs.
Number 6, Leslie Jones. Developing her own niche on the show, Leslie Jones was a force to be reckoned with during her stint on SNL.
You crazy! I don't even like scones!
She has an engaging personality that works well in contrast to co-stars like Colin Jost.
You better believe it's gangster, your tall glass of almond milk.
This makes her stints on Weekend Update particularly memorable, as well as some impressions like Whoopi Goldberg.
Later we'll be talking toes. Why so nasty?
Her ability to shock audiences and share brutal honesty makes for an unforgettable delivery. With the skills to entertain in any situation, her compelling stage work translates to films and even game shows. Jones clearly has an energy that's contagious in any setting, but especially noteworthy during her stand-up.
Cause ain't nothing like some glitter after some cocaine.
Number 5, Dana Carvey. During his time on SNL, Dana Carvey established himself as one of the great impressionists.
If we do go to war, I can assure you it will not be another Vietnam, because we have learned, well, the simple lesson of Vietnam. Stay out of Vietnam.
His ability to adapt to any scene with a key voice made him an amazing talent. This translates especially well to his stand-up, where he can show off his character work without constraints.
You people don't quit now, do you?
He can go blue with impressions of old actors, or take a longer look at his many political caricatures. Carvey can easily disappear into any number of people. One of his other great strengths is to continue to be relevant, working on impressions of newer targets such as Joe Biden and Donald Trump.
I like my froyo like I like my voters, white and sloppy, okay?
Number 4, Martin Short. Martin Short is the star of not one, but 2 incredibly successful sketch comedy shows. After his time on the Canadian sketch series SCTV, he spent 1 season at SNL with the likes of Billy Crystal and Christopher Guest.
And aren't you glad to be out of the water, Lawrence? Aren't you glad? Yes.
This achievement, along with a prosperous film career, has made the comic a legend. The consummate professional also makes the most of his presence on the stage.
Paul looks like what Vin Diesel sees in a mirror when he's clinically depressed.
In more recent years, he's been known to tour with fellow icon Steve Martin. When Short's not helping to resurrect the art of insult comedy, the performer has also become one of the finer talk show guests of the last several decades.
If I've done something wrong, I'm gonna be upset.
Number 3, Norm Macdonald. Starting as a stand-up, Norm Macdonald created his own alternative brand of comedy. His tenure on SNL was highlighted by his controversial time hosting Weekend Update.
Although O.J. may have hurt his case when he suddenly blurted out, "Hey, easy with that. That's my lucky stabbing hat."
Offering up jokes that pushed boundaries, Macdonald ruffled enough feathers to get him fired from the program. He continued to do stand-up and cultivate a cult persona for his trademark delivery.
In the early part of the previous century, Germany decided to go to war. And who did they go to war with? The world!
Along with appearances in film and his own talk show, the comedian was unafraid to tackle taboo subjects in his own material.
You've been thinking about your mortality a lot lately, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, you turn 70 and you can't run from it.
I was hoping you could.
His offbeat attitude lured audiences into a false sense of security before pulling the rug out from under them. More than almost anyone else, he could turn an ordinary phrase into something hilarious because of his timing.
That's a nice dog, a wiener dog. They can't rip your throat out unless you're lying down, you know.
Number 2, Chris Rock. Chris Rock started on SNL in the early 1990s. His time on the show might have been short-lived, but it was a proving ground for him as a performer.
First of all, Columbus discovered the West Indies. Second of all, the land he discovered had occupants on it. You know, that's kind of like discovering somebody's backyard.
He then took the comedy scene by storm with huge specials during the decade. The comedian became a rock star with the microphone, pushing the medium farther with his pointed observations and smart writing.
If OJ drove a bus, he wouldn't even be OJ, he'd be Orenthal, the bus driving murderer.
His work on Bring the Pain is just one slice of his genius, putting him at the top of the ladder with relatable material. He's maintained a reputation for being one of the better comedic minds of his day.
I'ma try to do a show tonight without offending nobody, okay?
Even after a notable run-in with Will Smith, the artist came back stronger and as popular as ever.
Will Smith played Muhammad Ali in a movie. You think I auditioned for that part?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy is arguably the gold standard of his era. He gained prominence on SNL, practically saving the show from being canceled in its rocky 1980s run.
Z, Nut, Rit, Eon. Ooh, someone screwed up, boys and girls. This word's supposed to say nutrition.
Murphy left the program for a blockbuster movie career and two of the most famous specials of the decade. Delirious and Raw are both celebrated for having some of the comedian's trademark jokes.
They'll get you half your money, your house, your car, alimony, child support, and your children. You'll be on the cover of the Inquirer like this.
The performer largely stopped touring in the 1990s, but his impact on stage was so pivotal that he inspired a whole new generation of comics. He's often counted among the greatest in his field for his incredible timing, bold style, and prolific output.
But if you would have told me 30 years ago that I would be this boring, stay-at-home, house dad, and Bill Cosby would be in jail, even I would have took that bet.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.